Welcome back to the program. It is 6:44, a cloudy morning here in the state capitol. Welcome back to the program. So we are joined this morning by Joe Parisi. He is no stranger to the state of Wisconsin, the city of Madison. He's the Dane County executive. We wanted to talk first and foremost, we've been reporting all morning about the Oscar Mayer plant closure. And I read your grandmother and grandfather worked there?
Yeah, my mom grew up on the north side, just a few blocks from Oscar's. And both my grandmother when she was younger and then my grandfather throughout most of his career worked at Oscar's. So it's been a part of our life. It's been a part of this community's life as far as any of us can remember.
Before we look forward, as you heard the news yesterday, what was going through your mind?
Oh, it was heartbreaking. I was devastated. I got the call at about 9 in the morning from the mayor, and we had to embargo the information until the employees were told at 1:30. And I think perhaps the most difficult piece of it for me is I have friends who work there. I know people who work there, and I knew that within a few hours, more than 1,000 people's lives were going to be changed, and they were going to be devastated. And so it was very heartbreaking.
What can the county do? I mean, as you look at this, I imagine that was kind of then immediately you shift into what happens next.
Yeah, fortunately, we have some great partnerships in place. The county has already talked to the city, the Workforce Development Board, the state. We've talked with Senator Baldwin and Congressman Pocan's offices, and everyone will work together to bring the piece of the puzzle that they bring for the solution. The main entity will be the Workforce Development Board. This is what they do. They swoop in when a crisis like this happens. They'll be writing grants with the federal government to draw down resources to come in for worker training, relocation to other jobs. We'll coordinate with our partners. One of the partners that came to mind was an organization called Project Big Step that we put together within the last couple of years that helps connect people who want to get into the construction trades with apprenticeships, if that's a pathway that some people want to take. We now have a vehicle to do that.
Is this indicative in any way about the economy, the greater economy in Dane County or in the city of Madison, or is this specific to the food industry right now? I mean, are you concerned big picture?
Yeah, big picture, no. I mean, when we look at what's going on in Dane County and our region right now, we're in a very good place employment-wise. Madison's about 3.2%, the greater region's 4%. From what we understand, this was a big corporate nationwide decision. They shut down a number of plants. It's very unfortunate that they didn't come to us and say, hey, you know, this is what we're thinking. Can we work with you? We didn't have a clue they were going to do it. But it is what it is. It's heartbreaking. It's unfortunate. But we're committed to working with the partners I mentioned and others to do everything we can to help the people impacted by this, because that's who has to be our focus right now, the employees and their families who got some really bad news yesterday.
Let me transfer you to a couple of topics that the county is working on. The county board tonight will talk about opening up this new day shelter for the homeless and purchasing this property along East Wash. Your thoughts? There are some neighbors that are concerned about that.
Yeah, and that's understandable. We've been in a process for over 4 years looking for a place that we can use as a day resource center for people who are struggling with homelessness. And what that is it's not a nighttime shelter. It's not just a warming house for the winter or a place to cool down in the summer. It's a place that will bring resources from across the county into one spot. So if people need housing referrals, if they need case management, if they need help with finding a job, if they need alcohol and drug treatment, if they need to get connected to mental health services, it's all in one place. So the goal is to have a place that's centrally located where people can go to get the services they need to help them get back on their feet and back in a home. And location is tough. You know, there is no ideal spot for this, but this spot is on East Washington Avenue. It's near transportation. It's near where many of the folks who are homeless, if they're sleeping in shelters at night, it's near where those shelters are. So we really see this as kind of the next level of sheltering, because again, folks will come there for the day to seek shelter, but also to connect to services.
I've got a half a minute, and I wanted to ask you about the future of the Alliant Energy Center, because obviously there were proposals put forward that cost a lot of money.
Yeah, the proposals that were put forward last week were $120 million. My position is we can't afford $120 million. We don't need to spend $120 million. For the last 4 years, I've been putting into place a series of affordable, incremental steps, working with local promoters, working with national promoters to say, what do we need to do to get the AEC back to where it needs to be? We built pavilions that kept World Dairy here through a great partnership. We're making other improvements. The short version of the story is we can get there. It's not a new revelation that there are challenges that are there. We've been on an incremental process for 4 years, and I'm confident that we can get it back where it needs to be for a lot less than $120 million.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me.